Okay, hold on a second. I know you think that thumbnail is a little clickbaity, especially coming from me, but give me a chance to explain. First of all, don't worry about how dusty and cloudy the tank looks right now. I was just in the sump mixing a bunch of stuff up and all of it got put up into the tank. Today, I'm gonna show you how easy and simple and the benefits of installing a refugium into the sump. Does that mean that we're gonna have no more water changes at all? No, absolutely not. But it is going to drastically improve the frequency of water changes that are needed. You ready? Let's go. First and foremost, what even is a refugium? The simplest explanation, it's a dedicated location inside your sump where live plants are going to grow and absorb the unwanted nutrients from our tank. Nutrients like nitrate and phosphate. These are the nutrients that cause algae growth in your tank and basically leave you with dirty water. One of the biggest reasons why we water change our tanks to remove these excess unwanted nutrients. But hold on a second before you click away. A sump is not the only way to have a refugium. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to get a refugium going in your freshwater tank without having a sump at all. Most of us in the freshwater world do not have sumps on our freshwater tanks. We have either canisters, or we got hang-on back filters, or we got sponge filters. For those of us that do have sumps on our freshwater tanks, one of the major pros of having a sump is the ability to keep a refugium. In my mind, if you got a sump filtering your freshwater tank, you should probably have a refugium in there. And I don't know what took me so long, but I'm doing it. So what are the benefits of having a refugium? Number one, if you got some algae growth going on in your tank, that means that you got excess nutrients of some sort. Either too much light, too much food, too much breakdown of organic waste, and this is causing algae growth in your tank. Now the 450 does have some algae growth, as you can see. I've got algae growing on my substrate. I've got algae growing on the glass. If you look real hard, you can see the algae growing on the glass. And I basically have to scrub away the algae on the display panels probably every other day, maybe every 2 or 3 days. I've got to scrub it away. Now, why is this happening in my tank? Number one, this tank does have a lot of light because I am trying to grow the little bit amount of plants that I have in here. I am trying to grow those plants, so they do need light. Number two, this tank full of discus requires heavy feeding. I'm feeding this tank probably 3 to 5 times a day because the discus need this amount of feeding in order for them to grow. Also, you guys notice these big, huge arowanas in there? Arowanas do best when they're well fed. If they're not well fed, you never know what could happen to anybody else in the tank. So I like to keep them well fed. Now, because of this heavy feeding I got going on in the 450, it's just natural to expect high nitrate levels, high phosphate levels, and some algae growth. Well, that's what this refugium is going to take care of. It's going to absorb those excess nutrients, that nitrate, that phosphate. It's going to eliminate a lot of the algae growth going on in the tank. And it's going to reduce my nitrate levels overall in the tank, which will indirectly affect my water change schedule. I am not going to stop water change completely. Those of you that know me know that water changing has more benefits than just removing nitrates. So even though my refugium is going to eventually get me down to 0 nitrates, 0 phosphates, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop water changing altogether. I still want to water change to remove the hormones from the tank that these discus are releasing in order for them to continue growing. I'm still going to water change in order to replenish the minerals that the fish and the plants need. Now, am I going to do the same schedule that I've been on, which is a bi-weekly 80% water change? That's going to dramatically be reduced, hopefully down to maybe 1 water change a month, maybe 1 water change every 6 weeks. Who knows? I've got to wait some time, see how well my refugium is performing, do some testing, and then find where my sweet spot is. But it is absolutely going to help with my water change schedule. Now, if you got a sump on your freshwater tank, I'm about to show you how quick, easy, and simple it is to set up a refugium so you can start getting these benefits. First thing you need for any refugium is a light source. Obviously, the plant is going to need light to photosynthesize and do what it needs to do. Now, because my sump area is completely dark, I've never had any tank light at all. I found this light in my closet. I don't even know what it is, but it's gonna be good enough for a refugium. It's about 24 inches long, which is bigger than the chamber, but that's okay because I'm gonna mount it upside down so that it can light up my whole sump area. Let's go. How we're gonna hang this light? Well, I thought of a nice little hack. I found some double-sided tape. I'm gonna put a couple pieces on one end, a couple pieces on the other end, and a couple pieces right in the middle, and hope for the best. I think the double-sided tape is gonna work pretty good. let's go. It's just about 24 inches the chamber. Good to go. We're gonna go smack dab in the middle. There she blows. Look at that, stuck already. That was easy. And then there was light. Now we got a nice bright under the tank sump area. Man, I don't know what took me so long to do this, but I love the bright lit up sump area now. Can actually see under here. But that light is going to give us the light that we need for our plant going right into this refugium chamber, and it's gonna get plenty of photosynthesisms. Now this project was very spontaneous, and all of a sudden I decided to do it. So I just jumped in the car, drove down to the Aquarium shop, which is my local fish store here in Long Island, New York, and I grabbed myself some water Sprite. These are gonna do great as a refugium plant. They're gonna grow really fast. They're gonna do great at nutrient absorption. They're a very hardy plant. All they need is a regular light. And really all you gotta do is just dial in how much light you're giving them. If you give them too much light and they're absorbing too much nutrients, just lower down your light. If you feel that they're not absorbing enough, keep the lights on for a lot longer. But water Sprite is not the only type of plant that you could use. There are plenty more. You can use Anubias, Java moss, hornwort, whatever you could get your hands on that will grow in a sump is gonna do just fine in a refugium. Water Sprite is great because you can root it in your sump, meaning put the roots under some sand or some gravel, but it also grows just as well floating in your sump, which is the route that I'm gonna take, because I'm just gonna toss this in here, let it float, because it's gonna grow and flourish, and eventually I'm gonna need to take some of it out once it gets too big. Some of you, I'm sure, have noticed the media and the biomedia bags that are also inside this refugium chamber. The reason for that is, you may not notice it, but this chamber is actually the last chamber that water enters before going back to the return pump chamber, which means that this is the lowest and the slowest flow throughout the whole sump. Another benefit of having a sump is utilizing this low flow area to grow anaerobic bacteria, which can also help and reduce nitrates. So this chamber is gonna just do a plethora of work for me. How a refugium works is pretty simple. In your tank, you're increasing your bioload continuously. Your fish are releasing ammonia from their gills. You are adding ammonia every time that you feed, and eventually it all decomposes and turns into nitrate and phosphates. As this nutrient-rich water goes through our sump and into the refugium chamber, the plants growing in that chamber, if they've got a really good light, they're gonna photosynthesize and absorb all of that nitrate and phosphate, and the plants are actually going to grow and get stronger and get better and much more efficient at absorbing that nutrient-rich water. And that's what we want. We want the plants to basically eat those nutrients and remove it from the tank water. If you've got a planted tank or just plants in your tank, what happens during the day while your lights are on, your plants are photosynthesizing, they're absorbing CO2, they're releasing oxygen, all is good and all is well. At night, when your lights are off, your plants are actually doing the reverse. They are absorbing oxygen and releasing CO2 back into the water. That release of CO2 back into the water can lower your pH. What a refugium can do, if you turn on your refugium light at night while the tank lights are off, then your plants in the refugium are continuing to photosynthesize and release oxygen into the tank water, while your plants in the main upstairs are basically taking a break and having a good night off. This 24-hour cycle of photosynthesis, both from the plants in the tank and the plants in your refugium, are going to drastically help absorb unwanted excess nutrients from your tank water. This is one of the beauties of a refugium. Now, as promised, you do not need a sump in order to have a refugium. There are units out there called hang-on-back refugiums, similar to a hang-on-back filter, which hang on the back of your tank, and you can have a refugium up on the top of your tank versus down below it in a sump. If you want to check out how I install one of those on the 210 African Cichlid tank, that video is right there. But before you go, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.